Mhm.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? Are your conversations making a difference? With a passion for words and a heart for conversation, Teresa Velardi is a self-professed word nerd, best-selling author, BizCat 360 columnist, and publisher. Children's books as well as fiction and nonfiction books are welcomed at We Be Books Publishing and Book Endeavors, the imprints of her company, Authentic Endeavors Publishing. Whether written or spoken, Teresa strives to encourage and inspire meaningful conversations that make a difference. Here's the host of Conversations That Make a Difference, Teresa Velardi.
Hey, everyone. Are we live? Yes.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Sorry, I got bumped out as I was coming in. So I don't know what happened. And then Zoom decided to do an update. So here I am. Welcome to Conversations That Make a Difference. I'm Teresa Velardi, and I'm here with my guest, Rene Kamstra, today. We're going to talk to Rene in just a minute. I wanted to also just give you some information about Dreamvisions 7 radio network. And this show airs every other Tuesday, the first and third Tuesday of the month. We are live, and then every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time, you can watch the replays. You can listen on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network, online, mobile, in the cars, YouTube, and by asking Alexa to play Dreamvisions 7 radio network. So we usually start with a prayer. So let's say the serenity prayer and get this party started. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And today, we are grateful to be fabulous, blessed, and highly favored, living in our greatness, using our God-given gifts and talents with passion and purpose, and we're making a difference in the lives of others. And all of God's great universe is conspiring in our favor. It is with great gratitude that we say, Amen. So, Amen. So let me introduce you to my guest, my friend, Rene Kamstra. She is an internationally recognized businesswoman and communications expert. She has more than 35 years experience in consulting and coaching, leading corporate executives and entrepreneurs from humble beginnings to millions. Rene teaches people how to communicate excellently, sell without pressure, become unstuck, and grow businesses. Tony Robbins, Chet Holmes, Sally Hogshead, Corelogis, Visa, and Wells Fargo are among her many clients. And you can learn more about Rene at renekamstra.com. And we'll give you that spelling as we conclude our show today. So, hey, Rene, how are you? Tell everybody how you are, where you are, because you are always on the move.
Hi, Teresa. It's so nice to see you, and I'm so excited to be here. Well, today I'm here from beautiful Vail, Colorado. Nice. It's really, truly one of my favorite places in the U.S., so it couldn't have been a better space to talk to you today.
Awesome. I'm so glad to see you. And you always look bright and shiny, and you're always smiling. And that's one of the things I love about you, Rene, is you've got this wonderful attitude about you, and life is good no matter where you are, right? So tell everybody, when we put this show out there today, we talked about life on the go and doing business from wherever you are. And we also are going to talk about something called imposter syndrome, which is, especially among women, I think that we suffer with imposter syndrome, and what that means, I'll let Rene tell you, but basically it's like, oh no, somebody's going to find out I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. Right? So a lot of people have that. So let's start with a little bit more about you, how you got into what you are doing, like what makes you happy, what drives you to keep doing this, and let's let the audience get to know a little bit about this marvelous woman that we have in front of us today.
Oh, thank you. So I'm going to start at the very beginning. All right. So when I was a young girl, I always fit in better with the men than I would with the women, because I was not into buying all these fancy dresses and dressed up and looking pretty all the time. I was really so much more interested in business and how it worked. And so I found those conversations really interesting. And so when I grew up, and I started realizing that I would really like to go into consulting, everybody said to me, but that's a man's world, right? And it's not something you should be involved with. You should get married and get children. And yes, I did all of those things. And I just realized that I love my kids to death, right? And all of that. And I need to work. It's just that thing that drives me, and I love making a difference. And so despite everybody's talks, I did go into the consulting business, right? And I started becoming very successful. And that's also where I started hitting, this phenomenon that we are talking about. That's the imposter syndrome, right? Because the more and the better I started doing, the more I started doubting. The weirdest thing, right? And that's what happens a lot of times. So I want to tell you, the more successful you are, the more you're also going to realize that I don't know everything and anything. And what if they find out that I don't know all of this, right? And it's just this really weird cycle that can happen, right? And it also happens for people that are really into perfectionism.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really interesting, right? And so what I realized is that what is really important is we are so incredibly tough on ourselves that this really has nothing to do with who we really are. The better we do, the more we succeed, the more we are worried that, oh my gosh, they will find us out. But the fact of the matter is you achieve because others see it in you.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting, right?
Yes.
And so with all of that said, one of my big wishes, Teresa, was I wanted to teach, I wanted to coach and consult, and I wanted to absolutely make a difference. And at the same time, the difference I wanted to make for me was to travel the world. Right? And so now we're coming to your second part, and that is me doing business as this world traveler, which really brought me to a place where I made every effort to set myself up in a way where I would coach. And today I have clients in 28 countries, right? And I have been speaking on stages as a keynote and so on in 19 of those countries. And it has been the best thing I could have done for myself, right? And what I realized is, and that is something you probably talk a lot about, because I've actually heard you say that on many shows, and that is where our mind goes, right? Energy flows, right? Exactly. And so that's something that I have been really, really focusing on. And I have just decided, okay, I can decide I'm going to stay in this negative thought process, right? And stay in this imposter syndrome, so to speak, right? Or I can really go to, okay, what have I accomplished?
Yeah. And
that's what are other people, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. What are other people saying about me, which doesn't come from my mouth? Right. In fact, if you actually will look on my website or things like that, Teresa, I hardly ever speak about myself. I never go there because I never had to. It's always from others.
Yeah.
And once I focused on that and started noticing what others recognized in me and what I'm really good at, that's when everything changed for me.
Mhm.
Because the reason for that is I became crystal clear,
Mhm.
right?
And I think we need to get to that place of clarity before we can actually step into the role that I would say you are purposed for, correct?
Oh, so true, so true. And that clarity is not just clarity on who we are. It is, right? Who are we? What is things that we really must have? Like to me, travel was a must have, right? But also clarity on what is that zone of genius that you have, right? That sets you apart.
Yeah.
And, Teresa, the crazy part about our zone of genius is, I would say 95% of us has no idea.
So true. So true. So in trying to find out, we're like kids in a dark room trying to find the way out the front door. That we just like bump into each other and we try this and we try that and we don't know where we're going, and eventually the door opens, the light comes in, and it's like angels sing, ta-da! And you found it.
Right? And so, but let me tell your audience, a great way to find your zone of genius, because I think that is truly the place where if you find that and you put that together with your skill set, that's when you're in a zone where absolutely no one can surpass you.
Exactly.
Right. And
Great.
so what I found is the way to find your genius zone is to literally see what others think, because most of the times when we are in our genius zone, you know what we do is so easy for us that we believe everybody can do it. Right. And so we expect everybody to be able to do it, and they can't. Right. And so that's part of where imposter syndrome comes in, right? We think we're not giving value because when we are in our zone, it's just so easy. So how can I give value if it's so easy?
Yeah.
Right. And so if you then ask, and this is something that I've done, I would go out and ask maybe 20 of my friends, what are those things that I do that is standing out to you that makes me unique?
Yeah.
And if you would then get like 10, 12, 15 answers that would be the same, then these are things that you do that is so different from others. If you then put that together with your skills, oh my gosh, that's when you are becoming crystal clear. You have no more doubts in yourself because you become totally congruent with who you are, right? And that's when everything changes.
Yeah, now make no mistake, we are not personally defined by what we do, but what we do is a huge part of who we are. And that's, and the gifts and talents we've been given, before we even decided that, okay, we're going to take this earthly journey and we're going to do whatever it is that is before us to do. Once you find out and and it's time for you to really step into that, I think it's been my experience that everything else opens up even better. Like you become more comfortable with who you are. Same for the imposter syndrome stuff, but you become more comfortable with who you are because you're comfortable in your, as you call it, zone of genius. I love that. I love that.
Yep.
So.
And so I love how you just said it as well, because, you just said it in a different way so that everybody can understand that. But once we are working in that zone of genius, and it's not about just working, it's embracing that gift, that God-given gift that we have, right? That is that part of you that when you embrace that, nobody can come close to you. Then it's whatever you do is no work. It is always fun. It's always a pleasure, and you can do it any time of day or night, right? And right. And so I know what my zone of genius is, and part of that is obviously in consulting and stuff like that. And what really gets me going, which I know it's maybe not a zone of genius, but that is something that is also so in me, is like the traveling. And so I kind of want to say something around that.
Yes,
because when you are within imposter syndrome, right, and you start doubting and you have all these negative thoughts, what is really important is for you to help shift yourself to a different space. So what would be a good way to do that, right? Because if you try and force yourself and you go back to the old questions, you're just going to rehash everything all the time. So a way that I do that, because I love travel, is I will literally go on booking.com. I will literally go and decide, oh, let me look at Bali. I'm just going to book myself a trip to Bali. I might not have any plans to go to Bali, okay? But I will go in there. I will look at hotels. I will just find amazing things. I will book it. And then maybe tomorrow I'll just cancel it all. But what did I do? I put myself in a place where I love to be.
Yeah.
Right? It totally took me out of all this BS. Am I allowed to say that on your show?
Yeah, you could say BS. BS stands for two things, the first one that you say, and then BS also in my world stands for belief system too. So
absolutely, right? And so, which are both correct, right? Because if you can change your belief system or take it back, where you take your power back and start doing something and focusing on something that you love, everything else falls into place.
I agree.
Right? So, yeah.
So how many times have you found that you're looking at something, and this just goes to like energetic conversation, like, okay, let's say you're looking at Bali, you want to go for a nice trip. I've never been there myself, seen lots of pictures. It's gorgeous. And I know it's one of your favorite places.
Yes.
So let's say that you want to go there, but then all of a sudden you get a phone call and you booked your trip, right? And you may cancel it tomorrow, but in the interim, maybe one of your clients has decided to run a 2-day retreat or 3-day retreat or a seminar that's actually taking place in Bali. How many times has that matched up for you when you've done something like that?
It's been, so what most people don't know is I actually lived in different countries, in 18 different countries over a 1.5 year period, right? I had to come back. I had to come back with COVID. So I was in Australia when that happened. I was lucky enough to got the second to last flight back to America, right? But this is how I managed that, because it happened to me all the time. It was just magical. I would book a place. I would always stay for a significant period in a country, right? And then let's say I was a month in Bali. And they wanted to fly me to, which actually happened. I had to fly to Australia. I had to fly to Fiji. I had to fly to Malaysia, and all of these things. Sometimes I would just fly back and forth. But the great thing is when you have these bookings and you book it in a way where you can cancel it at any time, right? I could just give notice. And then when somebody books me, the best of the best, Teresa, is they will pay my flight. They will pay my beautiful hotel where I'm at. And I made a pact with myself. And that was, when I enter a country, I am never going to be only in an airport, in a hotel, and go back. I just made that pact because I used to live that way, and it was not satisfying. It really wasn't satisfying. I loved my job and I loved travel. So I should experience both in my sense. And I am not an either or person. I always tell people it's an and world.
Yeah. And that's a lot of people don't get that. You know, it's not this or that, it's this and that. You know, so it's an and world. And if you live your life in that space of being able to have it all, like you do, you know, you get a chance to see all these beautiful countries in the world, and you get a chance to do your work. And how awesome is it that you get to be in, I'm going to say, the lap of luxury in a place like Bali, and you get to go to work for however many hours that you have to be there. And the rest of the time you get to be like, just like in awe of your surroundings and really enjoying it. I know what you mean about the hotel thing. You know, you go to a hotel, you go to your event, you do your thing, and then the next thing you know, you're on the flight out. Now, I've done that many, many times.
Yes.
And there are many cities that I've been in the United States that I have never walked out the front door of the hotel from the time that I got there to the time that I'm leaving. You know, so it's frustrating to not be able to say, oh, I was in, I don't know, LA, but I never went down and saw the Walk of Fame or whatever they call that. You know, I was never there, you know, and I spent many years doing the coast to coast travel. Still never went there, but good point.
But you know, Teresa, exactly what you said there made me realize not making a choice is a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so I've lived what you said. Hold that thought, because we have to go to a break, and we're going to revisit that statement, because not making a choice is making a choice. So, and a lot of people don't get that. We're going to talk about that when we come back with Rene. We'll be back in a minute.
Hustle and bustle of today's world. How often do you take time to practice gratitude? More importantly, how can you make it a habit? The Grateful Hearts community is a group of like-minded people focusing on what's going right and being grateful. Gratitude is more than putting a smile on your face and being thankful for the roof over your head. It's about expanding your perception and finding ways to find gratitude for, in, and through the challenges we face every day. Gratitude is a feeling of connection to things higher than yourself, to God, and to others. We focus on light, positivity, and connections. You make a difference. When we join our grateful hearts together, the power of community attracts more people and even more to be grateful for. Expressing gratitude and feeling grateful is infectious, so let's share it. Join our Grateful Hearts community and watch your blessings blossom. Learn more at gratefulheartscommunity.com and join the community at facebook.com/The Grateful Hearts Community.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through mayhem to miracles. Sacred stories of transformational hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velardi's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dreamvision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
We're back with Rene Kamstra. So before the break, we were talking about how not making a choice is making a choice. I relate to that. Can you explain exactly what you're talking about to our audience?
Absolutely. So when I was younger, right, life looked different. It was more like I wanted to work, I wanted to make money, all of these type of things, right? And at that point, I mean, I literally would put every need that I had on the back burner, right? And so, which was interesting. So I would go and I would work my butt off, right, for other people, and then not allow myself the chance to also enjoy and do things that was important to me. And like you, I would then just go from hotel or wherever I was, or speaking or whatever, right, doing an event, to the airport and back. And it was literally my life was sleep and work. Right. And even my kids were, you know, I was not the best mom because that was my life, right? Until I started realizing that not making a choice to include myself and to also live life means that I am making a choice to live the life that others want for me to live. Right? It was now all based on other people's choices, because I would show up and I would go and show up and go, but it was only showing up for them. And once I really got that and got that, that's not how we have to live. We can actually have a and world. So I don't have to have either this or this. I can have both. That's when I started making different choices. I included myself, right? If you do a vision board and you just do a vision board with everything on it, but you don't put yourself on that vision board, it's only things.
That's right.
Right. And now what I did is I included myself not on a vision board, but in life.
Yeah.
And I included my children in life.
Yeah.
In life totally changed. I became a way better mom. We became so much closer. I was so much happier. I realized what I focus on will expand. I actually started making more money. I literally started losing all these feelings like maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I need to work harder, maybe I'm not giving enough value, which was totally not the truth, because people literally would fly me from America to Australia to be there for 2 or 3 days, do what I needed to do and fly me back. Why would they pay for a $3,000 flight, right? Or a $2,000 flight and a hotel and all of that if I really didn't bring value? So it really took me looking outside of my own, I would say, stupid questions, because I would keep myself in this little loop, right? Versus going outside, looking at the facts, and then accepting them and then moving forward. And it's very interesting when I, like I say, when I started doing that, that's when everything changed.
Yeah.
It was like people were more attracted. I got more serious jobs. So then I got a job and I really went to work with like the boardroom of Apple and the boardroom of Visa and bigger companies and people. than I ever did before. So it's really interesting how people can pick up on your, I would say, worries that maybe you're not good enough or whatever. And once you actually start becoming very congruent and know who you are, that's when everything changes.
Yeah.
And so
indeed.
it's like an alignment within yourself that speaks very clearly through body language.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's not just body language, Teresa. In my case, because communication is my field of expertise, it is also what the body tells you when it gets sick, or you get a cough, or you get a broken leg, or anything like that. That is communication from your body.
Yes. Yes. And most people don't pay attention to that, and they keep going when they have the cough, and they keep running when their leg needs to be tended to, and the situation becomes greater, and the next thing you know, they're flat on their butts instead of taking care of it at the first sign. It's like, yeah, interesting.
I actually would love to give you a little bit of an analogy around that, if I may.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So when I'm talking about a cough, most of the times when we get a cough, or we have no cough while we speak to somebody, and then all of a sudden we have this cough or this tickle in our throat, right? What it many times means is that we don't necessarily want to talk about it. There's something we want to say, but we are not doing it. We are barking at the situation. So it's not sitting well with us, right? Or we are wondering and whatever. So it's very interesting. This body, which is a different type of body language, is telling us something.
Yes.
So when we talk, and I always give this analogy, your brain is the thinker, right? And then your neck is the place where you can actually totally change your focus. So if I look this way, my focus is here. If I do this, my focus goes there. And so it is through the throat area that you can truly take a right turn or a left turn, right? Yeah. And once you've done that, and you actually put your thought system together with your body, which is now the body language, different than body language when we just speak, right? That is when the arms is the part of your body that does things, and the legs is the part of your body that takes you forward. So if you get an issue with your foot or your leg, or you break your leg or anything like that, what it really means is you don't know how to move forward.
Interesting.
And so that's how the universe makes you aware where you need to focus. And where are you stuck?
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. And you know, I've read Louise Hay's books, and some of what you're speaking into right now, she goes into how your body parts are absolutely when they are not functioning properly, there is a message in each one of them. So
correct.
I think the name of the book is You Can Heal Your Life, and it has
absolutely.
I
love that book.
Love that book. It's really amazing. It really is amazing. But you know what else I want to talk about, Rene? I know that before you actually entered into this world of communication and business and whatnot, I'm not shocked that you're a communicator, because of the fact that God gave you the vocal cords that you needed in order to be able to be a speaker, but you used that in another way too, when you had a career as a singer, correct?
Correct.
Talk a little bit about that.
Teresa, I didn't know you know that.
I know that. I know that. And so, yeah, I think we had a conversation about that way back when. But the reason that I bring it up is you have such a beautiful voice. You have a gifting in your vocal cords. And I want to know, how did you transition from what you were doing as a singer, performer, and you've sung in many and high places, yes. And so what I want to know is, how did you transition from doing that to stepping into what is really your genius and having the life that you have now? What was it that shifted for you? Because I think the world and people in the world today are stuck in what they think they should stay with, rather than venturing out to what they actually believe in and what is actually their genius. And I think that your story is probably going to give somebody a hand up to where they need to be. So let's go there.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. I'm shocked and I'm glad that you asked this question at the same time. So yeah, I used to sing in places like Hyde Park. I sang on Broadway. I sang in the Vatican, right? Many of these places. I won an Emmy Award. And so all of this kind of comes together as the same thing, right? I used my voice. I was on stage. I was able to communicate to a heart level, right? And when I got married, it was really hard for my partner to really accept that I had to be on stage all the time, right? However, stage and making a difference was and is still everything to me. So I don't necessarily have to be on stage anymore, but what I do is giving me a stage to make a difference.
Yes.
And so all I needed to do was switch from to literally, right? And I grew up with my dad, who was a massively successful businessman, right? And what he did is he did something really special, Teresa. When I was a young girl, because he was so successful, he would sometimes go to businesses, or let's say a bank meeting where he would meet like 5 of the bankers, right? And he would just take me with. I'm this little 5-6-year-old, and I would sit next to him. And then when I would have something to say, everybody would keep quiet and they would listen. And my dad would leave us, right? And so what did I learn from that? I literally learned that I can speak to anybody, right? That allowed me as a child also. He, like I said, he was a big businessman. And part of what we did is we would buy secondhand pianos, and then we would actually bring them back. My dad would redo them, totally revamp them, and then sell them, right? And so here I was a 6-year-old when he sent me to an auction to go buy pianos for him. What I didn't know, Teresa, was that the auctioneer and him were like great friends. He always bought pianos for Dad. So he spoke to the auctioneer. He told him exactly what he was willing to pay. And he told the auctioneer, when she puts her little board up and it's above my price, you just don't see it.
Okay.
Otherwise, you see it. Right? And so I bought 3 out of 4 pianos that one day. I had this blank check that Dad just signed. Now imagine you're a 6-year-old, so your handwriting is this big, right? And so I couldn't even write a quarter of that check, but I did, right? And I put the amount in. And so I bought those. Dad arranged with the bank that they knew this check was going to look way weird, but pay it out. I came home with the driver, and in about 2-3 weeks, those pianos were sold at a huge prize for me
Profit.
as a child, right? So we got this profit, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am so good at sales. I mean, I didn't sell, but to me, I was good at sales. I buy low, I sell high, right? And so,
Exactly.
I mean, so pretty much what that did is it set me up for my next success. So what I really want to tell people is when you look at who you are and you become totally clear on what is your genius zone, that thing that is just so easy, and what are the things that you are really good at, I promise you there's going to be so many different areas in the career where you can go.
Yeah.
I'm not telling anybody jump off a bridge and just do it.
No.
I will always tell people, and that's what I did too, right? Build that bridge and really do both until you are at a place where your one business might outgrow the other, or or whatever, or you get yourself to the level where you are ready to make a move. And once you got the job, that's when you tell your old space, sorry, I just found something that is really touching my heart and where I want to be, right? And so most people fail, they're scared of change.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what holds most people back.
Okay. Yeah. And hold that thought.
Well, that's what they think.
That's what they think. Right. So hold that back, hold that thought, because we have to go to our second commercial break. I can't believe 2 segments are gone already, but we'll be back with Rene Kamstra in a couple of minutes. Just listen to these messages. We'll be right back.
In order to be healthy and happy, there are 24 areas of your life to balance. With the All Things Wellness Wheel, you become self-empowered, allowing you to make healthier decisions about relationships, nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress, and even your value system. The All Things Wellness book series, written by Peggy Wilms and Dr. Marcus Wettstein, teaches you how to balance your wellness wheel in addition to sharing true stories from multiple contributing authors. Book 1, The Fourfold Formula, and Book 2, Win the Wellness War, We Are Responsible, are now available on Amazon. Reserve your spot now to become a published author in Book 3, Wellness GPS, Get Prepared for Success. Visit www.allthingswellness.com/authors for more information.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Cannabis. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
Do you have a personal story of hope or kindness to share? The Daily Gift book series, which began with a daily gift of gratitude, now available on Amazon, continues with a daily gift of hope and a daily gift of kindness. And we're looking for people just like you to share a story. Your daily gift of hope story might answer one of these questions. Is there a time when you felt hopeless and someone stepped in to change your view? Have you been an example of hope for someone else? Is hope something that you've always had? If so, how do you keep that hope alive? With hope, we have more energy and a purpose. It gets us out of bed in the morning. Daily Gift of Kindness might be your chance to talk about recognizing and spreading kindness to change the world. Practicing kindness lifts your spirit and your mood, warms your heart, and helps to navigate your way through today's challenges. Has an act of kindness from a stranger turned your day around? Have you ever paid it forward to someone or for someone? Your story matters, so visit dailygiftbookseries.com to find out more about how to submit your story for a daily gift of hope and a daily gift of kindness. Your stories make a difference.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we're back. And Renee, just to tag along on that last commercial about the Daily Gift book series, you have written a story in here. Actually, I think you have 2 stories in here, right? So yeah, this is the first book in the series. The second one is Daily Gift of Hope. The cover of the book has a lighthouse. Lighthouses are known as beacons of hope for sailors lost at sea, and we're collecting stories for that. So if you are interested in having a story in the book, you can just go to dailygiftbookseries.com/hope. And it says that the deadline was September 15th, but I'm extending it to October 1st. For anyone who might want to be a part of that, just go to the website and you'll see how to submit your stories. And Renee, I hope you'll submit something for Daily Gift of Hope as well. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you're bringing a lot of hope to people in this conversation, because I think that some of the points that we have touched on, people get stuck in the conversation that's in their head, just like we were just talking about. So if you want to finish your thought, that would be awesome.
Well, we were talking about change, and what many people fear is the change of doing something, and what they don't realize, and I think all of us don't necessarily realize this, is that change happens anyway. And if you choose to live life to the fullest, and I don't mean, you just go out and let everybody else stake where they are, right? I mean, where people come from the heart and stuff like that. But if you also focus on you and you make certain choices, what happens is, let's say you have children, right? You bring children up. What happens for most people is we go back and we relive everything that our parents did. It comes through generations.
Yes.
So if we can actually get up and start looking out for what we believe would be the best path for us to walk, where we can truly be healthy, we can be happy, we can make a difference, whatever is really important to us, what do you think the impact will be on your children? Right? We tell them, do this, do that, but that doesn't have impact. We have impact when we make the change, when we make the decision to move forward. And I believe that's what happened with me when my husband was not so happy with me being on stage all the time, right? And I didn't want to give up everything that I was born to do, right? I wanted to touch, I wanted to travel, I wanted to make a difference, I wanted to truly bring my gift. And so together with all these experiences that I had with Dad, and the fact that I studied psychology, and all of that together gave me a beautiful plethora in which I could still make those choices, do what I loved, and show my kids that anything is possible.
Yeah,
right.
That's huge. That's huge. Huge. I think that a lot of parents get stuck in, like you started to say earlier, like what was for them, and then it's a generational replay, if you will. And that's where a lot of parents, I think, go wrong. But then when you shift, they have to shift as well. So it's, because you're approaching life in a different manner, or you're doing something different, and you're holding it. When you step into doing something that you love and doing something that you are gifted for, I think it really gives them permission to do the same thing. But they have to get used to, like, who is this woman? So, I mean, I know I have a question from one of the listeners. Let's see. I sort of agree in injuries being a manifestation from our inner beliefs. Please share a way to know before an injury what we could change to prevent it. Is there a way to do that, Rene?
Well, wonderful question. So if we stay in a place of happiness, so if you're going to start worrying about, oh my goodness, what if I get an injury, or what if my health is not holding, you can be sure you're going to manifest something, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
so it's not always possible to keep our energy at this level. You can't be at a 10 all the time.
True.
So be prepared for sometimes getting that headache or getting something, and see that as a blessing. So I know you asked, how can I prevent before it starts? And right, let's be realistic. In life, you're going to have some ups and downs.
Yes.
But if you now get something and you realize, okay, this is starting to tell me something, right? If I have a headache, it means that there's a fear going on for me. What is that fear really? And just drink a lot of water, then it will dissipate. And if you don't consistently then just focus on what is wrong with you, but you start finding something that is really well, and you thank the universe for giving you the sign that, okay, my thought process has not been where it's supposed to be. That's when you get rid of it really fast, and where you can now go back on the upward swing where you prevent more.
Yeah. Good
Right?
answer. Good answer. Absolutely. So this is love the statement of things that could be done easily by anyone is an indication of your gift. So I'm guessing this when we were talking about how we do things easily and what other people's opinion is that we do so well. She loved that statement. So yeah, it's true. And, I've been all right, so there's a fine line between taking into, and I think you're going to agree with me here, there's a fine line about getting other people's opinion of you. Yeah. So you go to people that you know and trust who can give you an answer as to what you do best and, how you can, and they start talking to you about all the things that are going right in your life. And there's a difference between the other people who will do nothing but tear you down and whatever else. And it's their own insecurities, has nothing to do with you, but those are the people who I stand by this statement. Your opinion of me makes no matter to me. It does not make a difference to me. It does not matter.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And now I'm going to ask you the big question, because we only have, like, believe it or not, we have about 7 minutes left. But I wanted to touch on that immediately from this conversation. How does either one of those feed into imposter syndrome?
Well, imposter syndrome is really fed by other people's opinions, right? And so because you worry that maybe they might find you out or whatever, right? And so that's where we have to get back to our inner self, to know that we were created, right, in the light of God. He gave us some beautiful gifts, right? And it's for us to really discover them and take those people that love and support you, in that you can take that to tell you what they see, but also take your accomplishments to show you what you've done, and then trust that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's really important. I would love to give all of you a beautiful little exercise. If you actually draw a circle right now, right, and you put that circle, put 4 quarters kind of in the circle.
Okay.
And when you make 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%, right? So what I want for you to look at is the middle line of that if we look at percentiles, right? 50% of people will love you. 50% of people will not love you, right? But out of that 50, if you are between 25 and 50%, you might be able to get them over to the 75% line. But if they are in that 25% column where they are jealous or they just don't gel with you, and I mean, you've been in a room and I've gone into a room and there's just this one person and we're like, oh, I don't want to be near that person. I have no clue why that happens, but it does happen, right?
Exactly.
So if you focus most of your energy on those people that are in your corner, in the 50, 75, and 100 percentile, your life will look so much different than if you focus on that 25%. And the unfortunate truth is that I see people always trying to convince the people that is trying to pull them down that, no, this is not who I am. And they try to actually talk up. And that's where the biggest challenge lie, because when you keep doing that, you keep your energy here and you stay in imposter syndrome. When you really spend your time with people that love you, support you, and want to see you flourish, that's when you will flourish, because we become like the people we hang around with most.
Exactly. So remember that. Who are you hanging out with? Who are you going to dinner with on the regular? What kind of conversations are you having? Are they uplifting? Are they helping you to be the best you can be and show up in the world with the gifts and talents that you were given so that you can live an extraordinary life? Or are you being dragged down into the mud and you're a sounding board for somebody who has no place else to go? I've experienced both of those in my life, and I would much rather be at the table with somebody who we can have an incredible conversation like this one and have take away from it something beautiful that will change our lives. Rene, what's next for you, and how can people get in touch with you? What are you up to? Where are you traveling to? Tell us a little bit more about what's going on in your world. We have 2 minutes left, and make sure that you give a correct spelling of your website so people can go find out more.
Okay, sure. So I am planning to do another 4 or 5 months travel overseas, right?
Nice.
So right now I'm just traveling in the United States, but I'll be in Australia, New Zealand, and that area of the world. Of course, I'm going to Bali and so on as well, right? I really want to tell people what is really important is find out who you are, get clarity, and make a decision what it is you want, because you can manifest it and walk the talk. When you feel something show up, go there and literally move forward step by step, because like I can live in any country, you can. It's not as expensive as people think. It's probably cheaper than when you live here full time, so you know, right? And you can experience all these beautiful things. So if you want to get in touch with me, obviously I'm on LinkedIn. I'm Rene Kamstra. On LinkedIn, you will see me with a blue suit. That's always the easiest to find me because there's more than one. And that is where you can really get in touch with me and speak to me. I'm also obviously on Facebook. My website is there, and I hardly ever go there because I just get work from anywhere. And I'm happy to give you guys my cell phone number. Text message me. You cannot call me and just expect me to answer all calls. Text me. I will get back to you. And I love people. So it's R-E-N-E, Rene. 1 E. My dad wanted probably a boy. And it's K-A-M as in Mary, S-T-R-A. Okay. So Rene Kamstra. And if you want to go to my website, it's .com, obviously. And my cell phone number is 201-920-9272. And I love people. I'd love to be of assistance to any of you, answer any questions that you have. And Teresa, You're one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
And I so appreciate that you got me onto this call. And if ever I can do anything for your audience, for you, you know where to get me.
Thank you so much, Rene. It's such an honor to have you in my life. You're one of my favorite people as well. And I want to thank you for being part of this Conversations That Make a Difference. And I hope for all of you who are listening that you took away something that could help make your life better, and that the conversations that you are having with the people in your world are making a difference to you and to them. And with that, we'll say, see you next time. Have a great day, everyone.
Tune in next time for Conversations That Make a Difference with host Teresa Velardi every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday on syndicated Dreamvision 7 radio network. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our producer Rachel and to our station owner Deborah Beauvais, working behind the scenes. Be sure to go to conversationsthatmakeadifference.com for your free gift. Make sure your conversations make a difference.